Misty mountains cold.
Is this that Hobbit shit?
Hello, and welcome to a special episode of That Hobbit Shit. I'm Corey.
And I am Mike.
Mike, I believe we are discussing the Rings of POOer today.
Yeah, we are.
It's season 2. It just came out. Oh my God, is that exciting?
It's
Shall we go to-
been inflicted upon us before I expected it.
Yeah, it seemed like so far away, and then suddenly it was here, and I just wasn't ready. Should we go to the Green Dragon before we get into our discussion?
Yep.
But the only food for the brave and true comes from the Green Dragon.
Okay.
Corey, twice in a day is rare.
Yes, this is our second episode that we're recording today. If you haven't listened to the last episode, we promised we would get right into this, and we did, and we are.
I think that having 2 beers will only benefit this.
Yes, actually, this works out quite well for our discussion, as you, dear listeners, will soon see. So yeah, welcome back to the Green Dragon. Mike, what have you selected for your second POOer beer?
Corey, very fittingly, I've just cocked up my pour, and I can't taste it yet. So can you go first?
Yeah, sure. Wait, I'll go into a description here. So my beer is from the Kingston Brewing Company, and it is called Yard Work. And I'll tell you why it's called Yard Work. For one thing, I was working in the yard today. Very appropriate. It's Labor Day in Canada. And also it's just a slog, just a big amount of hard work to get through the fucking Rings of Power. So we're doing a little bit of yard work on the show. It is a light beer. It's only 4%. Wow, is that all the information that's on here? Yard work, light beer, 4%. Yep, that's it. Let me have a taste. So this follows a trend of beers, which I personally love, where like it's craft brewing's recreation of like shitty old dad beers. So yeah, it tastes like a somewhat purer Molson Export.
Okay. I appreciate that. I used to not, and now I do more.
It's kind of my favorite kind of beer, but I'm getting old and crotchety myself, so I'm sick of things like IPAs and others and sours and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's I really can't do like a daily beer. Not daily beer, but you know what I mean, like a regular beer that is that strong or that much of a statement.
Yeah.
Or that will get me drunk.
It's nice that there's a selection of like decent, easy drinking beers that just taste like beer.
I wonder if they're following the demographic of beer fans.
I thought you were gonna say aging hipsters, and
Well, that's
that would
what
also
I
be
meant.
appropriate. Yeah. Yep, that is probably it. Because I mean, that's the people that I would imagine work in breweries these days.
So it's a very tasty, drinkable beer, you would say?
It's pretty good, yeah. It's not bad. I haven't had this one before. It's not my favorite, but I tell you one thing, it'll do. Mike, what have you got?
It'll do. That's perfect. Corey, I'm drinking an orange creamsicle milkshake IPA from Russell Brewing Company.
Oh my goodness.
If you remember the last season of Rings of Power, I think we tried to buy the most ridiculous beers we could.
We did, yeah.
So that's why I purchased this orange
Nice.
creamsicle milkshake IPA.
Wow. Well, you mentioned cocking up the pour. How does it taste?
It tastes like all of those things.
Oh, that sounds all right. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it's a lot though. Holy moly.
What's the percentage on that?
6.2.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There's a lot going on in this beer. Wow.
There's a lot going on in the Rings of Power.
Mm-hmm. It's good though. It's good. It's definitely going to get me drunk by the end of this episode, and that might go poorly for me, but
Poorly for you, good for the episode.
yeah, and poorly for the kids I have to hand jerseys out to after this. Okay,
Good call, good call.
into the episodes. Do we need to summarize each one, Corey, or do you just want to talk about it?
If you want me to summarize it so that people who haven't watched it know what we're talking about, they're very short. I took the liberty of doing a summary so that you would perhaps be relieved of that burden.
Okay, thank you. Go for it. Episode 1.
Okay, yeah. 3 episodes are out. Episode 1. Summary. For some reason that I cannot explain, orcs hate Saruman. Or sorry, Jesus, I'm all caught up in last episode.
Or you call him Orc Jesus? That's Adar.
Oh, so much for cutting that out. Anyway, orcs hate Sauron. Sauron. Mike, they betrayed him and tried to kill him. Sauron then turned to goo and ate a lady, and then he was a different guy than the guy that he was in. Wait, no, he was a different guy, and that guy was the season 1 guy.
Yeah.
Sorry. Elrond tattles on Galadriel to Gilgalad that Celebrimbor made some rings with Sauron.
He sure does.
Gilgalad wants to wear the rings, I think. So Elrond runs away to Círdan, the shipwright. Gilgalad sends a message to Celebrimbor that what's his face is actually Sauron. Meanwhile, Sauron is in chains in Mordor, and Adar eventually lets him go for a reason that is too convoluted to get into.
He doesn't know it's him.
Oh, right. That's a good explanation. Gandalf and Girl Frodo are walking, but they're not very good at it. Other Hobbit, aka Girl Sam, catches up to them somehow. And Círdan decides that the rings are actually awesome and puts one on and takes the others back to Gilgalad, and he wears one. And even though no one trusts Galadriel, she also puts one on. A tree comes back to life, and that is episode 1.
I got a couple notes.
Please start us off.
Did they really have to spend 20 minutes telling us what happened before last season?
Like retelling the first episode or the first season, and it really was 20 minutes. You're not kidding.
Yeah, it was fully 20 minutes, and it's just to hide the fact that that guy is Sauron, which was admittedly cool last season.
Yeah, that was probably the coolest part of last season. Yeah,
like wondering who he was, but they probably should have just had that at the end of the season.
Yeah, like
it was a little slow to start the season off.
There's no new information that they offered us there. I mean, I guess other than the fact that the orcs betrayed him for some reason, but they didn't explain why they hate him.
And he's well, I watched it twice. He really doesn't sell it. Like, a lot of you are gonna die, and you're my underlings now. So what do you say?
I thought it was odd because it seems like they're sort of almost trying to make the orcs sympathetic. Like like they just want a place to live or something like that. Like, but like, hang on, like, no. But anyway,
yeah. I thought for a brief second we were going to see werewolf Sauron.
Oh, I did too. I really did too.
I was so disappointed. That's probably where my anger was with the first 20 minutes. They should have just gone werewolf. That would have been so cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that would have been awesome, and just like rip them all apart. Yeah. But even I don't know, even still, with him not being a very good salesman, why do they like Adar? Why do they not like Sauron? Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I have so many questions, and I know they have no answers.
Yeah. In my notes, I have Adar continues to be the coolest character.
Even though they recast him, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Until I rewatched it. Or until I started reading about it.
Oh, I think they announced that pretty soon after the last like the end of the first season.
Yeah. I fully forgot.
Yeah. But it's also like, I don't know, that's one of my questions. Why is Adar so cool? Like, what?
Yeah, like,
I don't know.
Boy, Sauron could have done double duty and pretended he was that character.
Yeah.
A sympathetic first orc, but it's so cool that we see one of the first orcs.
Yes, I do like that.
The pervert elf.
Perverted, Mike. You meant perverted.
Yes.
Yeah. I thought it was maybe one thing I'll give the show credit for is once they had sort of killed him and he turned into oh yeah, like we were talking about the black oil from X-Files.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? And then I was like, oh wait, when Gandalf is fighting the Balrog in Khazad Dûm, once its flame is extinguished, it describes it as a creature of slime.
Right.
And I thought maybe that's what they're going for. And I was like, okay, I'll give you points for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's not like it's cool. It's just a weird way to start the season, I guess. I felt anyway.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Well, there's zero subtlety in the show as a
Yeah.
whole. And there's also like I think a really bad sense of how much time is passing. Because like it was not very long before he was a human again. Uh,
It was, but they did it so poorly.
yeah, exactly.
If you watch it again, like after he drip drops into that cave, there's a fade out and fade in.
But like, yeah, yes. But they could have said like, 200 years later or
Yeah,
like,
I think it's like 1,000, but
I
yeah,
don't
like
know.
they don't tell you. But like I was reading after about the time change, and like yeah, time went by. It just didn't tell you.
Yeah, I think they did a
It could
pretty.
have been an evening for all we know.
It seemed like it. Yeah, like the just a fade in and fade out makes it seem like it's like later that day. It's
Yeah,
like, well,
it would have been cool to do a pull out to like a sun setting over Middle Earth, like slowly, and then speed up and have it happen 100 times. You know?
yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, they could have done that, or they even just could have like written the text like 100
Yeah,
years later or something like
yeah.
that, which is such a simple thing, but they didn't do that, and so it's like,
So what I think I'd have to rewatch, but what I think they did is when they're introducing that scene with Pretty Boy Sauron,
yeah.
I think it says the beginning of the Second Age or something,
Oh yeah, yeah. It does say that. Yeah.
something like that. So they're relying on you knowing that the Rings of Pooer takes place 500 years after that or whatever.
Oh, okay. All right.
So if you do the math, but like you shouldn't have to.
No, no, you shouldn't. Well, because yeah, not everybody's like got a yearly membership to the Matham House like we do. Um,
Yeah. Um, uh, I've got so many notes for this episode. Why is it so dark?
like the way it's filmed is so
Yeah,
dark.
it's the other two aren't as bad, but this one was so dark.
I didn't even notice. I don't know, man. I want to know why he didn't turn into a rat or a centipede, but then when he ate the girl, he turned into a guy. This doesn't make any
Oh,
sense to
it would have
me.
been so cool if he turned into a rat and a centipede because
Yeah,
he's a shapeshifter
yeah, it would have been gnarly.
or a vampire. Like, why not vampire him up?
Or fucking werewolf Sauron. I'm glad you mentioned that because I was thinking that, but I didn't write it down in my notes.
It's one of my first notes. Um,
It's one of those things when you're like really into Lord of the Rings and you start reading into like the back history or whatever, and you get into the Silmarillion and you're like, are you fucking kidding me? There's werewolves?
and
It's so
vampires.
cool. Yeah, exactly. It's so awesome, but
We're like, why can't we see them? So this episode mostly focused on the elves, right? I
yes,
would say,
yes, it
aside
did.
from a little aside with I guess he is Gandalf now,
Yeah. Oh, he's
um,
Gandalf, all right.
and the first halflings. The elf storyline sucks.
They
But
go back and forth. They flip flop so fucking much between like we hate Galadriel, we love Galadriel, we hate Elrond, we love Elrond. Like they're like the hierarchy of their society sucks.
everyone is right to hate Galadriel, and she
Yeah.
sucks. And this has been a disservice to Galadriel this entire show.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Oh, I agree with you 100% there.
Right?
Well,
She hasn't told anyone that Sauron has reappeared and he's been manipulating what's his pickle into making some power rings.
yeah. Um, and then like, and then they just let her put one of these rings on.
Well, it falls at her feet, Corey.
Oh, of course, yes, yes, of course. Like, what the fuck, man? Ah,
There are a lot of people who hate Galadriel because her her actor is like a powerful woman. Um,
okay.
and I just want to be clear, I don't hate her because of that. I hate her because they've made Galadriel such a shitty character.
Well, yeah,
Like
they've made her,
they've
yeah.
blamed everything on her.
Yep. And they made her like unnecessarily violent,
Yeah.
and like I don't know, bloodlusty. Like yeah, yeah, I don't know. She's not a great person in the show.
And I just don't I really can't get over how everything is her fault.
Yeah, yeah, it's really weird. And there has to be like a pretty wild turnaround from there to like benevolent, very all-knowing sort of, I don't know, like the
Yeah.
awesome Galadriel you get in Lord of the
And
Rings.
how yeah, how do you get from this to Elrond seeing her as an equal in Lord of the
Yeah,
Rings?
yeah, exactly. Like we all have we all have periods of our life where we're a little weird, but man, she's like at both ends of the spectrum here.
Yeah, I didn't allow three races to be enslaved because of my pride.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. She refused to just say the fucking name Sauron for the longest time. Yeah, I don't know.
um,
That brings me into I do not understand the motivation of a single character in this show. Like
um,
why they do the things that they do makes no sense to me.
in this episode particularly, I'll get into it in the other episodes, but yeah, the I don't understand any of the elves.
No,
Not
no.
well, that's not true. I can't remember his name. The ringsmith.
Celebrimbor.
He he is probably the best fleshed out elf,
Yeah, probably.
but not
If
in
not
this.
for how gullible he is.
Yeah, but not in this episode so much. But
Yeah.
the others are like, I guess you have to assume they're so prideful, but like they're supposed to be these almost all knowing beings, and
Yep.
they're all tricked so easily.
Yeah, and they change their minds so quickly too.
Yeah.
Like they seem to have like no basis in like loyalty for one another.
Uh,
Uh,
okay, so Elrond is okay.
yeah, I think I like what they did with his character more than other characters.
Yeah.
I mean, at least certainly with Galadriel and Gilgalad to me is so flat.
What an insult.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Gilgalad was an Elven king. There's a fucking song about him, man.
He's one of the greatest of the greatest elves.
Yeah, he's supposed to be, but he's just he's just this fuck.
Yeah. He looks like someone from HR. Um, and then I can't remember his name. Sitran?
Círdan.
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 My autocorrect changed his name and then I couldn't remember what it was. Okay, he had a beard for some reason. So I guess elves can grow beards.
Did you catch the scene where he's shaving it off with a seashell?
Yeah, I did catch that.
What the fuck?
He also pulled an Isildur
Oh,
on poor Elrond,
that's a good point. That's a very good point. I didn't
which
even think of
which is
that.
just doing Elrond dirty.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Like this is so, yeah.
Yeah, he took like a sudden wave as like, oh my God, the gods gave me a sign. Like,
I gotta
what?
keep these.
I thought you were wise and ancient. And Círdan, I believe, is one of the ones who like actually came from Valinor.
Yeah.
So is therefore like he was like the first to arrive and the last to leave, you know?
They could. It sucks that they kind of just brushed over his character because he seems so cool.
I know, yeah, I've always thought he was very interesting, but he comes up so little in the actual novels. Because he seems like he's just like I don't know, just the most solid guy that there is. Like just a really dependable person.
And like the only elf with a beard too. Come on,
Yeah, that's a very good point.
and
I
it's a
didn't think
glorious one too.
that. Yes, yes. It's a good looking beard.
That's all I've got about that episode. It was painful.
Yeah, I think we pretty much covered everything that I had. It's just it's all there's zero subtlety and it's all so needlessly complicated.
Yeah, I think that's why I hate the opening 20 minutes because
Oh
it
yeah.
it overcomplicates what's already a complicated plot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's kind of funny actually. I'll mention this sort of in passing, but I suppose it's relevant. I was thinking before I started watching this, it occurred to me one day as I was just sort of thinking about the first season. I was like, wait a second, why was Sauron on that raft in the ocean? Like when he picked up Galadriel, like was he either trying to get to Numenor or was he trying to commit suicide?
And
And then
now
I
we
was like,
know.
well, yeah, now we know, and it gives like absolutely nothing to the character or the narrative. Like the actual reason is like kind of stupid.
Yeah.
because I actually thought like, oh man, did he give up? Like, was Sauron trying to commit suicide? Because that's pretty kind of interesting.
Yeah, and given an opening by Galadriel.
Yeah, but no, that wasn't the case. He was just sort of doing fucking whatever.
Yeah, bumming around because he's sad.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Because the
uh,
Zork stabbed him into goo.
so episode 2.
Okay, episode 2. Sauron goes to find Celebrimbor. The ghost ladies from season 1 are after Gandalf, and maybe Sauron put them up to it. Wizard staffs are important. For some reason, an earthquake happens in Khazad Dûm, and they lose the tunnel reflector system that brings them light. So death is imminent, I guess. Durin is still not speaking to his father Durin. And Gandalf casts a wind spell. It fucks everybody up because he doesn't have a staff. Sauron convinces Celebrimbor that they made the rings because he is an emissary of the gods called Annatar. And that's
And
my summary
okay.
for episode 2.
Where to begin here, Corey? So I think the earthquake that created Mordor is what fucked up the dwarven light system.
I would accept that as an answer, but I don't know how you came to that conclusion.
That's all there is. That's all.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, cool. No, I appreciate that actually, because I really wanted an explanation. Like why did it just happen?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. So it's all
Okay.
connected.
Okay.
Whether or not it was by design is another thing.
Right.
Um, my first note is, why are the elves so stupid?
I don't know. Are you talking about Celebrimbor being tricked?
No, everyone else. I'll give him a pass.
Okay.
He's been slighted by everyone else, and Sauron's playing into his hurt feelings.
Yeah, so I suppose in that regard, Sauron definitely picked the best one to be tricking.
Yeah,
Yeah. And he might also be the most skilled of the elves by a long shot.
seems the other elves just like kind of hang out under that tree.
Yeah. Just watching it die.
Yeah.
Whereas
Oh
he's
well,
doing something about
Elrond does some carving.
it. Oh, that's funny. Um, well, okay. I had a note here that's Sauron has no allies, right? Like he's
Yeah.
completely on his own. I want to know who killed the messenger elves that were on their way to Celebrimbor.
Oh, yeah. Good question.
Yeah, there's like really no explanation for that. They just sort of get murdered, and someone off screen drags their bodies away.
It was never explained, was it?
Nope, no, it was
Unless
not,
it
Mike.
unless it happened between episodes.
I mean, maybe, but I still don't know who would have done it though,
Did
because
he
like
did he travel there with other people, or was he sent on his own as the king?
I think he was sent on his own because he just had that one horse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, who knows? Could have been
Yeah,
anyone.
yeah, it
Um,
could
I have a note. Who are the moth people? But you seem to think that that's Saruman.
I think we're supposed to think it's Saruman. I don't know,
Oh, wow.
like just because he's got like he looks like a younger version of Christopher Lee from the.
Wow. I didn't, that wasn't my interpretation at all, but wow. So he's already starting.
Well, he knows that Gandalf is an Istari.
Yeah.
And I was like, how does anyone know that word unless they are one of them? But at the same
Hmm.
time, Saruman's not supposed to be evil at that point.
Right.
So if it's not him, I don't know who it is. I don't know if that's a red herring. Kind of like because you know how like there's sort of a red herring of like who in the first season of like who's Sauron, who's Gandalf.
Yeah.
Like you're
And
supposed to not be sure.
and now it's who's the people with the moth magic. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's Tom Bombadil.
Are you being serious?
No, no.
Okay. That would be hilarious. Just
Sending people
masterminding.
sending people to kill. Remember, he is the great evil.
Yeah, of course, I forgot. He needs to puppet master right up until the fourth age, so he's only halfway to his goal.
Yeah. Did Gandalf kill those poor little hobbits?
I think we'll find out.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know how they could have survived.
yeah, they're in a rocky desert landscape and they got thrown into the air by a windstorm. So I'm not
Hundreds
really
of
sure.
feet into the air.
Yeah. I still want to know how the other one caught up with them. Like how slowly were they walking?
They were going in circles for days and days.
It's still.
Yeah. Well, she said
uh
it wasn't very hard.
yeah.
And Gandalf died apparently briefly.
Did he?
Yeah, of thirst.
Oh yeah, right. Oh yeah, and they had to, oh yeah, okay.
They
Sorry, yeah. I
dragged
blocked
him
that out.
over.
Yeah.
Um, is that all that happened this episode? Wow.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Before I get into it, um, that they bring up Mithril again, and I hate them for it, just because of
Um
how Mithril only comes from Khazad-dûm,
yeah,
apparently.
did they not say that they didn't have any more mithril in the first season and that the older Durin decided that they may not do any more mining for it and yet
Yeah.
they had a chunk to give them?
I think you could pass that off as the dwarves being greedy liars and having a little bit more.
Okay, okay. You're giving them a lot of allowances, Mike.
Well, the I'll allow allowances for dwarves.
Yeah,
Uh,
actually, I do have a note that they like. Sorry, not to interrupt you. I want you to come back. The dwarves remain the best part, but that's not saying much at this point.
I think their poor decisions are the only excusable ones because they're in character with the orcs with the sorry with the
Yeah,
dwarves.
yeah, okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
Um, I thought that the whole of all of the shit that's going on and how many things handled poorly, I think Sauron's deception is actually well done
yeah, I
somehow.
didn't mind that actually. Yeah, him turning into Anatar or whatever.
Yeah, and like revealing it, and
Yeah,
he deceives. What's his pickle? Like it gets in the next episode, he does even more, but like he's really pulling some strings there.
yeah, and it's kind of cool. I'll give him credit for this. It's kind of cool that he really only needs to trick him.
Yeah,
Because if he convinces him, then it's smooth sailing for him, right?
yeah, he's found the weakest link. It's just
Yeah.
it's really convenient that the other elves haven't told him that
Well, yeah, exactly. That
that's
goes back to
Sauron.
like those messengers not making it.
Yeah,
But who stopped them? I don't know. Because apparently
maybe
orcs
we'll
hate
find out.
them.
It's possible we'll find out.
We should, because I feel like that's a bit of a plot hole at this point. But yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
and
know.
a real one, not one that people just say, "Hey, that's a plot hole," and it's something that they don't agree with.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. Yeah. One
Is
of
that
my notes
it?
for this. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, one of my notes is and I feel bad saying this, because I suppose I should give the maybe like a disclaimer that like obviously very creative, very talented people are involved with this, and they're doing their best, but um, there's some things that just fall real flat for me, and I think some of the acting is just bad, and particularly Gilgalad and Girl Sam.
Yeah, yeah. I particularly glad. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't understand why it's so bad. Like how it could be so bad.
he's just so flat.
He's so miscast.
Yeah, yeah, totally, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that's just a passing note.
Yeah. The visuals are really cool.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like there, like yeah, like there are like yeah, people with unbelievable talent are working on this show, and they're doing a great job with a lot of it. But there's a problem. The rot is at the core.
Before we get into episode 3, I forgot to point out that I was getting a dragon tattoo during episode 1.
Oh yes, that's very important.
So I watched it through. It kept me awake.
You watched it through fire and pain and
Yeah.
death and etc.
Anyway, back to episode 3, Corey.
Yeah, have you said all you wanted to say about episode 2?
I have my last note is Mithril. Oh yeah, I just wanted to give kudos to the way that Sauron converted. I keep forgetting his name.
Celebrimbor.
Celebrimbor. Yeah,
Yeah.
who is in one of the Lord of the Rings games, maybe 2 of them, Shadow of Mordor games.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think I actually knew that though. I've never played it.
But two of the better Lord of the Rings games.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah,
episode
he's
three.
all right. He's kind of got like a bit of an HR thing going as well, but it works for his character.
I, I read someone saying he is this show's Bilbo, and I can't unsee it now, and it makes me like him more.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that as well.
Like being really excited to go get some first age wine.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, yeah, I forgot about that. And then motherfucker smashes it. But that led into the whole believability
Yeah.
of him being a god. Anyway, yeah. Okay, sure. On to episode 3 then.
Episode three.
Yeah. Oh wow, you thought 2 were good. Wait till you add a third.
Is the third the worst?
I don't even know, Mike. I'm pretty numb now. And I'm trying so hard not to finish my beer early.
I think they're getting better as the show goes on.
You're entitled to your opinion, my friend. I really I want the best for this, and I try to go in with an open mind, but I was just so bummed out the whole time I was watching. But anyway, it was such a slog. Okay, so Isildur is in what I'm guessing is Shelob's grandmother's lair. And
You mean Ungoliant?
I guess it would be Ungoliant's granddaughters, Shelob's grandmothers. I don't know. There's some kind of lineage there,
Yeah.
which I think might actually be well documented. But anyway, yeah, spider lair. And his horse can sense his presence, I guess. So his horse rescues him for some reason. I think I get more sarcastic with my summaries as we go.
Numenorian horses are different, Corey. They're built different.
They must be. They got to be, Mike.
They can also talk to their horses.
They didn't. Speaking of talking to things, I'm gonna get really angry about the Eagles in a bit.
Oh boy, and the horses. Go ahead.
So yeah, Isildur is rescued by his horse. He meets a girl, and Arondir finds them. And the lady that Arondir loved in season 1 died, and her son Theo is still there, but he is an angsty teen.
Yep.
Meanwhile, in Numenor, everyone hates the blinded queen because I guess they went to war and some people died. For no reason, some stuff happens. No one trusts the Palantir. It's evil, even though it can't be in this current time period. And also, an eagle who are sentient, by the way, appears and makes everyone want Farazan to be the king of Numenor.
That's about it.
Yeah, Salt and Pepper Beard Guy count is officially at 2. And then very quickly and with no buildup or tension whatsoever, the dwarves bring mithril, even though they said they didn't have any and it was too dangerous to mine in season 1. Though you covered that, Mike. I apologize. To Celebrimbor, and he makes the 7 dwarf rings. And again, with a distinct lack of subtlety, Sauron does something shady in full view of everyone present with the mithril, and then the rings are made. And that's my summary.
He's quite the sleight of hand, isn't he?
I don't know if he is. He's not. I think he needs to watch a couple more videos on how to make a quarter appear behind someone's ear.
Did he pocket that, or did he just like cast a spell on it?
Either way, everyone I think was looking at him when he did it.
Yeah.
It was so yeah. Which is fine. I don't even hate that. That's not even my least favorite thing.
Okay, let's run it back. I don't know how I don't like how I can't remember the character's name. Isildur's father.
Yeah.
The way he just is not talking to Derek very well at all.
Yeah.
Derek the horse.
Yeah, he should probably be able to talk to the horse. Yeah.
Well, he should be able to, and he's being so like aggressive and rude and like can't understand the horse's feelings, which is not how the Numenorians are supposed to be.
Nope. No, it's not. Well, you discussed in the first season, because I think you were particularly bothered by this, the nerfing of Numenor.
Yeah, it continues, doesn't it?
It does continue, unfortunately.
Boy, what's Isildur's father's name? We need to know.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. I was thinking that, and I couldn't come up with that, even though it's a very important name in the history of Middle Earth.
Yeah, Elendil.
Oh, Elendil, yeah, of course.
Because his sword becomes Aragorn's sword.
Yeah.
He should be able to talk to horses.
He should be able to talk to horses. He should also have a higher position in the society. But anyway,
I think that will come to pass.
It must. It would have to, yeah.
Um,
On the subject of Numenor, though, I have a note that is Numenor is a pretty shit place if you can just walk up and slap the queen.
well, she is blind, Corey.
I mean, sure, but nobody else is.
The horse's name is Barrack, by the way, not Derek, but I've been referring to him as Derek the horse.
Mike, this is Amazon's The Rings of Power. His name is Derek Norris.
uh, there's no explanation as to how Isildur gets into that spider cave.
Nope. No, not a
None at all.
one.
Maybe we'll find out, but there's none. Um, it was
Also,
cool.
it was, yeah, it was, yeah, I suppose it was an exciting scene, though I just didn't understand why it was happening.
Yeah, and then I thought for a second he was going to see the dead marshes, but that wasn't the dead marshes. It was just the battlegrounds.
Yeah, and he stole somebody's boots, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah. Even though it was unclear to me that he didn't have any boots.
yeah. Maybe the spider should have eaten them.
They really like Numenorian leather.
Yeah, I can't remember anything from last season. I really can't.
Hit me with it. I might be able to help you out.
I just couldn't remember what happened. Like there was some sort of battle and some people left, and I guess Isildur was left behind.
Yeah, I think the building that collapsed that blinded the queen, Isildur might have been in it. And
Oh,
they assume that he died.
but there were like 20 people in the battle, right?
Yeah, I don't know. The battle, I guess the battle was going fine until the volcano erupted and then everything went to shit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Um, okay. Uh, my one of my favorite parts of this season so far is the orcs. They're really well done.
Okay.
And we had a major question answered. There are orc women and there are orc children.
Oh yeah. So that answers the long-standing question of like, is there a single orc queen that
An orc
just
queen birthing endless orcs.
that brings me back to Dune, but I don't want to give you any spoilers because I'm on book 6.
Okay.
Something happened and I was like, oh my God, Mike was right.
Oh God. Um, um, the troll is so cool.
The troll is pretty cool, yeah.
Okay, I was
Um,
really hoping you wouldn't disagree. That yeah,
well, it's interesting that that's also part of like the weird thing where like it seems like they're vaguely trying to make the orcs sympathetic, but they're not going too full tilt into it.
yeah.
Like, it's almost too subtle. We're in a show where I feel like there's no subtlety. Because like he comes back and he just gives them the head of the messenger, and like it's like, well, orcs aren't supposed to be so disposable if they're all like sympathetic characters. Like if they're
Yeah,
a
and
peoples that's just trying to find a place to live.
how are they? That it doesn't this go against Adar's like championing of the orcs if one of
Yeah,
them has died and
exactly.
he has to ignore it because it's a big scary troll they need.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe that's going
But
to create a
it
rift.
maybe it will, yeah. Because yeah, I guess at some point, Sauron either has to like whip them all into shape or convince them that he's the one that they should follow again.
What if there are orc
Um,
rings? What if there are 9 orc rings or something?
it'd have to be a different number, maybe 20, 15 orc rings.
Could be
Um,
one orc ring for Adar.
the Adar ring. Um, yeah,
I think that's the point of no return if rings are added.
yeah, yeah, I think you're right. I think that's what they've deviated too far. I feel like there was discussion in the first season of like whether or not Amazon had the rights to the name Anatar, and they didn't, and that was why they
Oh,
were sort of going that way with the season. But then
huh.
I don't know, but maybe that was just conjecture
Maybe
I
they're
saw on the internet.
working on the rights to Gandalf as well, and they'll get
Yeah,
there.
probably. Yeah, I would imagine that they're trying to get their hands on whatever they can so they can continue the show going. Um,
Um,
yeah, I don't know.
they're building something with Isildur, and I think it's going to be cool, but I have no faith that they're not going to fuck it up.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like with his whole journey of like being in Middle Earth while everybody else from Numenor is still in Numenor.
Yeah, and he's like trying to do the right thing and
Yeah,
constantly suffering for it.
yeah, yeah. But he's like, I don't know. I suppose people can rise to greatness, which is cool. But like, he's not. I guess it's the nerfing of Numenor again, where like Isildur has not really shown himself to be like particularly awesome compared to anybody else. Like,
Yeah, he should be the best human we've seen.
yeah, but he's not. Yeah, I don't know. He couldn't even stop himself from getting eaten by a spider.
Uh, really, he should have when that he shouldn't have been stabbed by that woman. He should have known that was going to happen,
Yep.
and definitely that old man shouldn't have gotten the jump on him.
Yep, probably not. No. Yeah, he like imagine imagine Aragorn in any of those scenes. How
Yeah,
many
no.
heads would have flown off his shoulders?
Yeah. Um, in my notes, I have that the dwarves are the only race where the stubbornness makes sense.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it really does not make sense when they make the elves stubborn, and they've made most of the elves pretty stubborn.
Yeah, they're supposed to be enlightened.
Yeah.
I kind of get it, but like you're fucking this up.
Well, the elves are supposed to be like pretty, I think, like utopian and like it just like I don't know, it's sort of a perfect society in a lot of ways. Like and everyone just sort of understands your connection to the world and all
Yeah,
that sort of etc. But
yeah, they're all selfish pricks.
yeah, they are. Yeah. Um
I have a few notes. Did you notice the when the wild men scene? There was the laziest wood chopping I've ever seen.
when Theo and Isildur are like
Yeah,
sort of ambushing them.
yeah. There's a
Yeah.
guy chopping a tree, but he's doing it like clearly not putting any effort into it.
The part that bothered me about that was that it was the middle of the night and he's just trying to chop an entire tree down. And I was
Good
like,
point.
you couldn't have thought of this at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, you're gonna alert people to your presence. I was so focused on how badly he was cutting that wood.
I didn't notice that. Oh, I
Could
guess we
you-
should mention though that I think we're getting Ents in a minute, Mike.
yeah, I my next note is how are they gonna fuck up the Ents?
uh, Thoroughly and utterly.
uh, um, first season baddie Muriel. She really fucked things up in Numenor.
Which one's Muriel?
She's what's his name? Elendil's daughter,
Okay, yeah.
the baddie from season one.
Yeah. Right. Sorry. I thought you meant maybe the new person that Isildur met.
No, she's got something going on.
Well, she's sort of one of the reasons why I can't help but say like I don't understand the motivation of any of the characters. Like why does she think the Palantir is evil, but I think she was using it? Why is she against the queen? Like I don't understand why she's doing the things she's doing.
I think she was um, manipulated by Farazan.
I guess.
She must have been. I must have missed something. There was one scene where he was chatting with her.
Yeah, and I remember there was one scene in the first season where she was trying to get his attention. It was really stuck in my head because she like people were talking to Farazan and she was just like Farazan, 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 and so it
Oh,
was just being completely ignored in the background. I think it was before they all sailed away to war. I don't know, but I guess her boyfriend is his son or something.
oh, I forgot all about that.
Yeah, I don't know. But like, yeah, I don't know. And also we still haven't met Anarion,
Yeah,
the other child of Elendil.
right.
Or is he
Or is he gonna have that child with the queen?
I don't know. I don't know anything, Mike. Um
And my last note is that what was going on with that eagle? Was he misinterpreted or was he paid off?
where did he come from and why? And like shouldn't they be able to speak to the eagles? Like
Okay,
shouldn't everyone in Numenor be able to understand an eagle?
probably. And excuse me, I think earlier this episode or the previous, they were talking about how in one king's coronation, an eagle was seen flying,
Yes.
and it was seen as like a signal of something positive.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think what was supposed to happen is the eagle shows up to like give strength to the queen, and somehow Farazan just stepped in front of it, and that was fine.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, I agree with you that that was it. But then I don't know. Yeah, at this point in the world, in the beginning of the second age, or around the beginning of the second age, I feel like the sort of knowledge of these sorts of things was supposed to be more commonplace.
Yeah,
Um, and so I find it weird that they're all just like, "Oh shit, an eagle? What does he want? He must want Farazan," and everyone's just like, "Oh yeah, of course." Like,
yeah. No one thinks to speak to the eagle, and the eagle doesn't stop to be like, no, 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 or like bite his head off.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. He should have bit his head off. Yeah, he showed up, he screeched, and then he flew away. And it's like, well, thanks. If you were here to try and help the queen, you fucked that up.
So the eagle's paid off.
Yeah.
Someone's giving him a whole basket of salmon.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. I don't understand why they didn't just, fly the One Ring to Mordor on the back of an eagle in the first place.
Because
Um,
Corey, the eagles are aloof, and they don't mess in the dealings of men
if I can quote The
unless
Hobbit, they're cowardly creatures.
unless of course it is the coronation of a queen, and then they'll show up.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I apologize. Yeah.
But they won't correct misinterpretations.
I have a note here where I've written, I am 100% convinced that AI wrote this show.
It's
uh
really sloppy, isn't it?
yeah, it seems like they put everything from the Lord of the Rings movies, the books, the appendices, and also $1 billion at a blender, and then it just spit this out. It's like, now
Oh,
the Eagles, now the rings, now the trolls, now Beleriand, now Mithril, now the wizard staff, and I don't
yeah,
know.
just a mention of Beleriand.
Yeah, yeah, just in passing. Yeah.
Um, are we done with episode 3, or can I?
Mike, if you'd like to move into some closing statements, you are absolutely more than welcome. Oh, wait, I have one more note
Okay.
about episode 3. I feel like if you knew anything about jewelry making, you'd be so pissed at the ring making scene. It's like it's so elaborate, but the actual forging is apparently like really, really easy.
they just they just make a mold.
Yep. And then they just drop the mithril in the mold, and there you go. The world is saved.
There's probably 100 steps in between that and wearing it, but we'll see. Um,
Yeah.
well, the reason I asked if you were finished is because I forgot a note from season 1, how they did the shot of the rings on the elves' hands.
Okay.
Do you remember that from Lord of the Rings, the prologue?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, definitely.
Like pretty much shot for shot.
Yep.
It
Yep.
was
Yep.
kind of cool. Nice little callback.
Oh, that was your note.
Yeah, it was
Okay,
it
yeah,
was
that was
just
fair enough.
I skipped over it from before. My general notes is I think the orcs are really well done.
Yeah,
The costumes, and the giving depth to the orc society.
yeah, their filthiness and like yeah, their the artistry behind the orcs. I agree with you. Is pretty cool. That's also a carryover from season 1,
Yeah, and
and how they had to like live under umbrellas and shit like that.
it's just really cool that it's almost like there's a different team assigned to each race, because the orcs are exceedingly well done. The dwarves are very well done still. They even listen to feedback, and I don't know if you caught some bearded lady dwarfs.
Yes, I certainly did. Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, that absolutely stood out. And I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
yeah. Numenor is still too small, but it's a little better. It's still like
Eh,
underpopulated for sure, but there's more people.
yeah, yeah.
I was reading that they filmed the first season during COVID lockdown, so maybe it
Oh,
was
really?
tough to gather enough people to make it look like Numenor was an actual kingdom.
Oh, interesting. I did not know that.
I didn't know it either, but then I was thinking of the ships that they sent out, that we were both wondering how they possibly could have fit like hundreds of people and horses into them.
And they're good, yeah, 'cause there were only 3 ships.
Yeah,
And that might have been the only 3 ships they had.
yeah. And I have Sauron's deception is handled really well this season. At least
Yeah,
his,
so far.
yeah, so far, so far. And I don't hate it. I just love it. Oh, Sorry, Corey. Before we began all of this, I guess this is a good footnote. Um, Perfection only exists in Valinor. Keep that in mind.
So any criticisms that we have are invalid because perfection only exists in Valinor.
Exactly.
You're right. And on that note, may the hair on your toes. Well, further to your point about the different teams for different races, I feel like the elf team was very unfortunately assembled. Because I feel like, well, okay, so they've nerfed Numenor. I feel like the glory and the grandeur of Numenor is not quite working out because like Numenor is supposed to be fucking invincible.
Yeah.
Uh, which is one thing. Sure, that's fine. That's that they're probably gonna come around to that. But like, yeah, I don't think the elves are very well done.
No, they're bumbling fools, and there's like
Yeah,
12 of them.
yes, exactly. Thank you. Yeah. But yeah, the orcs are really cool, and the dwarves are also pretty cool. I like yeah, I like how they're handling both of those races.
Could they solve some of this nonsense by having like establishing shots of elven kingdoms where they're like really populated? Even if it's a far off shot where they actually just CG in a ton of people.
Yeah, totally. Well, I think pacing is a big thing in this so far because like uh because they'll have a problem and then they'll immediately solve it. Like I don't know, like for example, like when Sauron was stabbed into goo and then, maybe it was later that day, maybe it was years later that he reconstituted himself. Like we
Yeah,
don't know. Or like when I sorry for being such a dick about this, but when Girl Sam caught up to Gandalf and Girl Frodo, um, it, like they were like, "Oh shit, we're lost." She was like, "Oh shit, I have this thing that saves us," and then they're
yeah,
immediately on the right track again. Like there's just the pacing is there's no pacing.
yeah. And I think part of that. Oh, we're running out of time. No, we have 10 minutes. I
Oh, we
think
can
part.
wrap it up. I think.
Yeah, I think part of that is modern tastes as
Yeah,
compared to Lord of the Rings,
yeah, probably. I suppose.
but also they're going to stretch this shit out into 8 episodes, 10. Like
There was 8 episodes last season,
I
but
think it's probably 8. It's usually 8.
yeah, I guess
Uh,
so. But it's kind of wild that they're already at 3. I'm like, I can't imagine them wrapping this up in 8.
yeah,
But yeah, that at the pace that they're going, they don't really need to stretch things out very much.
no, I don't know. It's bizarre.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to be negative. I just have questions that I don't think are answerable. Um, and it's also an interesting thing too because like 8 episodes is like 8 hours, right? Um,
Yeah,
and you like you take just the Fellowship. That's like 2.5 hour movie, and it had so much pacing, and it worked out really really well. And like they have more space to do that in this season, but like it's paced out worse, if that
yeah.
makes
I
sense.
think I think part of it is the need to explain every little thing, and
Yeah, yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
I don't I it, the whole and like they're dealing with so many plot lines together, which is self-defeating. They've created that
Yeah.
situation themselves.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's yeah. I think that's shooting themselves in the foot for sure. Like it could be the whole thing could be so much simpler if they just kept it simpler, but they're trying to overcomplicate it. Like this person betrays this person. Like, oh wait, no, this was actually what was really happening, and like this person was in on this, and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think they probably could have done away with the orc storyline entirely.
Yeah,
As much as it's one of the most interesting.
well, or even just dive into it further. Like none of the orcs have names.
Yeah,
So if you're
true.
trying to make them sympathetic, like give us like the name of an orc character, or like that one with like the sort of like humanish eyes who was like looking at that baby. It's like, well, is that his baby? Like he should be like, I don't want to go to war because I want to come back to Grimblesplop because I don't know.
He has the eyes of his grandmother.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally. You could just do something really simple like that and be like, oh dang, the orcs are people too. But
Yeah, they bit off so much, or like cut out a lot of the infighting in the elves since they can't handle it well at all.
yeah, yeah, apparently. Yeah. Cut out that scene with Círdan shaving his beard off.
Yeah, that like Kieran's his establishing shot was like a full 2 minutes.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh
Uh,
boy. Yeah,
Also, it was an
it's
interesting thing to like have a different actor be Sauron at the beginning, but then that actor was in the show for like a totality of 45 seconds.
why well he's in it later too, right? Like
Is he?
isn't he Anatar?
No, no, it's well, no, that so okay, sorry. At the very beginning of the first episode, when he was someone the guy that they all stabbed to death,
Oh, that's a different guy than
that's a
Anatar?
different guy, yeah.
Are you serious? Why would they have a
But
different guy?
I don't know. I mean, unless I'm totally wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure he's a different guy. And then what is that character's name that is Sauron?
I can't,
Uh
Hellbrand.
Hellbrand, yeah. Yeah, the guy that plays Hellbrand plays Anatar, but the guy that he was stabbed is neither of them.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
That explains it because when I saw Anatar, I thought, well, he looks a lot like Halbrand, but I didn't think he looked like that when I first saw him. But it obviously it's the same guy as before. Like
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Well, there was when they first put the trailer out, everyone was kind of mad because they were just like, "What? You can't have Sauron back, but he just got elf ears and blonde hair."
yeah, but
Um,
I guess you can.
yeah, he totally can. Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else we have? Oh, okay. Are we done? I have one more note.
Yeah. Go for it, Mike.
I watched a preview for season or episode 4.
Oh, did you? Oh, I think I stopped before that.
I just it kind of sums everything up.
Oh boy.
At one point, the text that flashes across the screen says "prepare yourself," but yourself is separate words. Like it doesn't say yourself; it says "prepare yourself,"
Right, right, right.
which just kind of sums up the whole show, doesn't it?
Yes, it really does. Yeah. Unless, Mike, that's a clue to the lore, and we should know that yourself is actually referring to Tom Bombadil or some bullshit like that.
I somehow don't think it is.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Oh boy. Uh,
I turned the trailer off after that point too.
yeah, that's a good call. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna watch it anyway. I don't really need to see a preview for it, but is it Fridays that it comes out?
I think it comes out Thursday night,
Oh, okay, crazy. Oh
so
shit.
we should figure out when we were going to record.
Yeah. Well, we've only got a couple minutes here, so we should probably wrap up.
Yeah, let's wrap up and then we'll talk.
Yeah, okay, cool. So this was episodes 1 to 3 of the Rings of POOer, season 2. Thank you for listening. We'll have the season 4, I suppose, episode out, or maybe we won't be able to stomach it and it'll be 4 and 5 the next time we record. But yeah, stay tuned for that. Let us know what you think if you like. You find us on Instagram at that hobbit shit, Twitter at hobbit shit, patreon.com/that hobbit shit. Email us wait, no, that hobbit shit at gmail.com. And thank you for listening. We'll see you next time. I'm Corey.
And I'm Mike.
And may
And
the
may the
hair
hair on your tours
toes.
never fall out.
Oh, that's a good one.